So Nomad's got curves now. You can add parts to arrays and curves and lots of grids. So let's have a look at putting something onto a curve and repeat it down the length of that curve and make it into kind of a robotic tentacle. Okay, so we're going to do some kind of a repeatable part that's going to be somewhat mechanical, and it's going to be one part of a mechanical tentacle. So you could do this organic, you could do it like I'm doing it, kind of roboty. It doesn't really matter. But the point is, this is going to be one segment of a part. So let's just slowly work through it. So first of all, we don't want this sphere, so we'll delete that. What we do want is a cube. So we'll go new. We've already got a new file, so we don't need to do it. So it's add and then box. So there we go. We'll put wireframe on to see what we've got in terms of a box. So we will come up to the top, and let's just get rid of this autosave by calling it tentacle, spelt wrong, but that'll do us. So now we will then come over to the parameters to change the amount of polygons. So we'll slide that right down to something like, let's go like something like that. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to validate it, and I'm going to start editing it in this low polygon state. So what I can do is I can snap it to the front like this, make sure perspective is off, and then we can use the view cube at the top corner there. We could, for example, use the masking. So we'll use SEL mask and then rectangular over here on this side. And then if you look there, I've masked the two sides, which I don't want to mask the sides. I want to mask just the middle. So to tap by holding mask and tapping, it inverts it. And now I can just scale that. So I use Gizmo and scale that down. And as you can see there, it has just scaled it around those two sides and left the middle exactly as I would want it, something like that. In fact, if I scale it back to front as well, that'll probably give me what I wanted. And that now is the part is going to repeat this way eventually. So I'm going to put something on the sides here, but that's quite a good start for the basic shape that I want to work with. So put perspective back on for a moment, and let's just take a cylinder object. So we'll come up to the top again, we'll go add, and we want to add a cylinder like so. Now this cylinder is way too high polygon, so back up to the top, let's knock the amount of topology down to something like, let's call it 18 like that. And I'd like it to go left to right, so I need to rotate it this way, which is around the blue one, which is here. And we want to do minus 90 or 90. Like so. And now what we've got is what can be a wheel, or basically it's going to be a component that's on either side of this kind of section. So we'll shrink it down a little bit like so. And then rather than just crushing it that way, I can put some detail by doing the masking again. So if I snap it like that, take perspective off. If you're ever doing any of this kind of work, make sure perspective is off. And then mask, and we want to validate it first, and then SEL mask. So let's mask off one little section like this. If it's the wrong way round, don't forget you can hold down mask and tap and invert it. So back to view so we can move around. And then I want to go to Gizmo and scale that one down. And then I want to move that one in a little bit like that. Like so, maybe scale it down a little bit more. Like so. And then I can bring that all the way in like that, then change that mask again, snap to the front with the view cube again. So we're going to go back to SEL mask, and we'll just using the rectangle, mask off again, invert it if you have done it wrong, then view so we can rotate it, and now I can scale that down. And I can do something like that. So this is a nice way of getting like components without getting messy with using things like voxel remesh. These can look pretty cool. This is just a way to be able to affect the shape in a very controlled way. So we'll clear that mask, and now we can just bring that down and make it a bit smaller like so. and then we'll bring that closer to that. And you can see now it's going to be the same across both sides, so eventually we'll mirror it. So let's duplicate that part. And the reason I'm doing it like this is I want it really low polygon. So, and I want it low polygon because I'm going to repeat it loads and loads of times later on. So this, you know, the lower polygon it is, the better it's going to be in terms of performance. So that's given me some quite nice parts there like that. Now what I will do is I'll take that bit and I will, in fact, no, I won't take that bit. I'll do another bit. So I'll do another cylinder. So I'll go add and I'll go cylinder and we'll leave it where it is there. But I'm going to reduce those polygons right down again, even lower than last time maybe. And I'm going to bring that to the front like this. And this is because at the front, this is going to, I'm going to do one at the front and two at the back that this one goes into. So it'll be almost like a peg in a hole. You'll see what I mean in a moment. So I'm going to duplicate that again. So we'll do clone. I'm going to bring it down lower like that. And I'm going to bring that to the back. And that would mean now if I duplicate that one yet again, so I'll go clone like so, and then snap it to the side so I can have a look. You make sure it's at the right height here. So basically, if this is a repeating component, what you'll find is that this goes in between these two here at the back. So this would be repeating this way. So that should look quite cool. Already it's looking cool enough. So we'll take these two parts here, which is this one, and which one was it? It was this one. I'm going to hold this open with the little button here, and I think it was this one. No, this one. There you go. So those two parts, and we'll use join. So they're just one part now, as you can see. And then we'll flip them across to the other side. So you want world, and you want left to right, yes, and you've got them mirrored across the world now. So this middle bit didn't need the mask on it, so we'll get rid of that, and we're going to repeat that, and we're going to use it again. So we're going to go Gizmo, bring it up and shrink it right down, and this is just going to be an interesting component on the top, like so, just giving us a little bit of greeble, really, a little bit of visual interest on the top of the model there, maybe a bit wider, like so. If you want to have a look at it and get a feel for it, turn the wireframe off, like so. And then you may even want to change the material now. So you want to go maybe lit. And then what you can do is go turn up down the roughness and up the metalness a little bit. And then force paint it. So you can basically paint everything by selecting it all. And then force paint all to get an idea of what it might be like. If it's not reading very well, then just move the lighting around. And we can go higher res on everything soon, but let's make the component first before we get busy doing that. So, in fact, what I might do is just bring that down a bit more. It's a little bit too reflective for my liking. I can't really see what I'm making that well, so I'm going to bring that roughness down a little bit, and I might knock it back up later on. So force paint all, there we go, and we'll put wireframe back on for the moment. So let's do a bit more interest up here. So we'll just do clone, bring it forward, shrink it down, rotate it. So I'm giving it a little bit of, and you can join all these in a few minutes. What we're trying to do is just make it again visually interesting as it's going to repeat. This may not make a lot of sense to you until you actually see what I'm going to do with the repeats, but it's starting to look like some kind of a science fiction-y kind of part at the moment. Still lots to do. So actually what we'll do is we'll put a torus at the bottom. So let's go add, and we'll go torus, bring it down. And then again, we want to bring this, we want it low poly, don't we? So we'll bring it down to a really low level, kind of blocky, something like that. And then make it taller, so it goes up like so. And I do quite like the look of a torus like this. I think it's quite an interesting shape, almost, creaturey, as like the bottom of a squid's tentacle. So we'll clone that one, and we'll bring it down and shrink that down like so. So again, this is more about visual interest than anything else. When when it's repeated down the length, that should look quite cool. So let's do a little bit more here. And clone this one. Shrink it down, bring it down. And we can actually make it a bit more interesting, so we can make a couple of them. So we'll put one there like that. And then we'll do another one at the other side. So you can either mirror it or you can just duplicate it. So I'll just mirror it, world, left to right, yes. And there you go, there's two of them. So that's quite an interesting part already. One or two more little things we can do. So we can duplicate that part, and we can bring that up so it gives it like almost like a central spigot, or I don't know what the right word for that would be, but it looks like there's a kind of an axle through the middle of that bit when this bit joins to it. I'm going to actually bring that down a bit, and that will probably do us for now, I would imagine. To make this look better for you, I'm actually going to go back to Matcap for a minute. And the reason I've done that is when I start repeating it in a minute, I want you to really see what it is that we've done. Now, that's low poly, but we might want to go up a little bit. It might be too low poly. So I'm going to turn on linear and subdivide it, and then turn it off and subdivide it again. It's just rounded those a little bit, so they look a little bit smoother. I didn't actually force paint that bottom one or that one. Let's just make sure they're force paint so they're all the same colour. So that's looking good. So what we can do is join them all by selecting them with the little ticks and then hit join. Now they're all as one. Now, if you just add a curve like this, so add and then up from here and then curve, it will add it in a specific orientation, and I happen to know that we need it to be 45 degrees rotated on that. So let me show you what I mean by that. So I'll just hit pivot and then snap it to the side, and I want that pivot to be rotated 90 degrees. I want the Y to be this way. So turn pivot off, and you'll see what I mean now, because I'll go add, and I want it to be add curve, and you can see now that what's happened is I've got a curve that's going this way, and it's adding these little parts to it. So I want the count to be quite high, so I'm going to set the count to something like 20 for now. It could change. And now I've got 20 pieces all in one there. But obviously it's very, very close together. So basically all I need to do is pull out this spline like this. And I'm going to pull it out until those wheels don't touch each other. So I'm going to go about there, something like that. Now what I've got is a long chain with only 2 points on the curve, and I've got it repeating all over the place. So it's already looking pretty cool. I'm quite happy with that. Let's turn perspective on. And so you can use this for lots of mechanical things, tank tracks, all kinds of stuff. But what we want to do now is we need to change the size at one end. So we hit the radius button once and then twice. And what that means is I can change this end one up and down. So if I go down now, that's giving me a size from one end to the other end, and that's perfect for a mechanical tentacle. So now what I do want to do is be able to bend that, because there's no good having this where I'm just moving it like this. So what I want to do is now add some splits into it. So like so. And then you'll notice the size has gone a bit off, but because we've got the third of the 3 radius settings there, we can go in and change the size at any point along the length, like so. I'll actually put a couple more in, and that gives me a little bit more control, so I can have it really large at one end, then starting to get thinner, and then get really thin at this end. Now it might mess up your controls, it might, sorry, your amount of points, amount of parts along the length, in which case you just go in and you change that to what you need to be. So you might want to change that up, or you might want to change it down, depending on what the adding extra points has done for you. So let's turn the grid off for a minute. Now we don't need that now, and let's go and do what we said before, which is switch it back to like a more metallic looking look. And I'll actually change the HDRI to get it a bit more, let's try and get a bit more colour in it, and a bit more metal look in there. We'll just try that one for now. And now you can start having a bit of fun, because now you can, well, one thing you could do is, first of all, you could put it into a group. So you could say add, and then group, and now it's in a group. So you can animate the group now from the base. So that means, or say animate, you're adjusting it, so you're rotating the group however you want it. And then as long as you click on the curve, you can always go in and start manipulating the curve. And this is where it really does get interesting. So now you'll see you can really get some nice shapes out of this now. And this is how, you know, I've been getting some really cool organic looking creatures. Now this is mechanical, but if you go and look online, I noticed the same day I was recording the first of these videos, one of my friends, Ian Crichton, posted almost exactly the same video with a tentacle. So go and look at Ian Crichton's work, and there's plenty more people out there doing this, you know, these kind of explanations with curves in Nomad. So go and have a look at those other people. Now you could do a number of things. You could take that group and you could duplicate it. So you could clone the whole entire group, and that allows you to have multiple tentacles, and that means you can control them, and you can control the curve of each one of those and get, you know, some really interesting shapes. These will 3D print perfectly if you've made the base model, the base part, perfectly. If you've done it so that they all interact and there's no open holes or air, you know, everything needs to be airtight. If that's what you've done, you'll be absolutely fine, and you can use these in your 3D prints quite easily. And don't forget, these groups could go in another group. So you could select everything and put it in another group like so, and then that group could be the group that you move around. So if you want to change an orientation, it might be that you put it in a group. So for example, we could do that, do another clone. And we could move that one down and rotate it around. It's already getting a bit crazy, as you can see. It's getting quite Lovecraftian, even though it's a robot. But really cool designs very, very quickly with this crazy curve tool. I used to use curves in Zbrush a lot, and I still do. But this is just, you know, crazy that we're doing this on an iPad. So you can see there that those three are looking, you know, quite amazing. But now what you can do with that group is you can throw that group into more of these kind of arrays or other things that we've got. So for example, we have got radial, so you could put them all around a radius like this. So you know, this is where it starts to get a little bit crazy. So you can really start playing with any of these shapes. You know, you can really begin to get some, you know, complex creature designs, and you can go in at any point and you can go and edit the individual curves there, and you'll get like the one movement on the one that you've, you know, on that particular one. Depends on how you've set it up. You know, you can make it as simple or as complex as you want it to be. I'll put some. Let me just change the background to a darker colour so it looks better like that. And then what I'll do is I'll also put on some post-process. So we're getting some crazy looking effects. And you can see instantly how you could use this in your, you know, your designs could really get crazy with simply just by using curves and one or two shapes like we've done here. It doesn't take you long to understand how you can make, you know, really crazy science fiction and fantasy kind of artwork with this kind of look. So that's one way of using this tool. This is the curve tool you should be focusing on, and this is doing it with a mechanical look. So go and try it with an organic look, and go and try it with, you know, lots more components and lots more robot-y components. And of course, it's March of Robots as of tomorrow, so March 2023. So why not use this in March of Robots with, you know, the DeCosta Bailey set that up years ago, and every year we start doing robots every March. So why not use this crazy kind of stuff in some kind of robot compilation? hope you're enjoying these videos, and if you are, please give us a thumbs up. It does help us to get in front of other people who might like this kind of content. And if you want to give us a thumbs up, then why not subscribe to the channel? We drop videos every week, and we're always trying to help you create in new and innovative ways. Thanks for watching.